Have you ever had that feeling like life is trying to tell you something? Maybe through, everyday stuff or even through your health. Like there's some hidden wisdom there. Well, today, that's exactly what we're diving into. Our mission to really explore session 101 of the Law of One.
Mhm.
And this isn't just reading a text. We want to pull out the beautiful, insightful, and really positive analysis from what's essentially a direct transmission of knowledge. It blends really practical things like personal health and even the energy of places with these huge metaphysical ideas about how reality works. Think of it as maybe a shortcut to understanding life's challenges and, yeah, its chances for growth.
Exactly. And session 101 is such a perfect example of the law of one material itself. It's this direct Q&A. You see the focus shift from very immediate, tangible concerns like someone's physical state, and then it just spirals out into these universal truths
Yeah.
about catalyst, energy, responsibility. So our goal here is to get maximum detail, maximum understanding, and really positive analysis from every single question.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Starting right at the beginning, with the instrument's well-being, Jim's state. Ra's assessment is, well, pretty direct. They noted his energy was somewhat diminished
Hmm.
due to pain and some recent mental or emotional stuff. But, and this is key, Ra also saw potential for improvement, saying his energy seemed very liable to be improved quite soon. So challenges, yes, but also, potential.
Mm-hmm. Hints of growth there.
Definitely. So the questioner jumps right in, asking what caused the swelling Jim had and how to fix it. And this is where Ra brings in that really powerful analogy.
The serpent.
Yes, the serpent signifying wisdom. It's fascinating how Ra uses it
Yeah.
because it's about duality. You've got positive wisdom linked to indigo ray work, the brow chakra,
Hmm.
using wisdom for unity, for service to others.
Right.
But then there's the flip side, negative wisdom. That's
Right.
the poison of the fangs, as Ra puts it, using knowledge to create separation, the self from the other self.
Okay, so how did that connect specifically to Jim's swelling? Well, Ra observed in Jim this mental emotional tendency towards negative wisdom. Importantly, Ra noted it was already lessening in distortion, so he was working on it. But that subtle existing tendency, that little pull, it actually energized, that's the word Ra used, the physical mites from what they called second density species, like a wood spider or even potentially a cottonmouth snake.
Wow. So an inner state literally energized an external physical event.
Precisely. It shows that deep link. What's going on inside can really influence or attract what happens outside. It's how these universal truths play out individually.
And the physical result was really specific too, wasn't it? Ross said the energizing took its place within the lymphatic system, impacting the yellow ray body, the physical body, which then strained the spleen, the suprarenal glands, the kidneys, even possibly liver and bronchial issues. It's like a domino effect starting from that subtle
It's
energy.
very clear cascade, yeah.
So, okay, understanding the why is one thing, but what about the how? How did Ross suggest Jim actually heal this? Were there practical steps?
Oh, absolutely. Very practical and also energetic. First, Ra recommended getting help from someone called Stewart for, and this is Ra's term, harsh chemical means.
Interesting. Chemical means.
Yeah, to basically kickstart the histaminic reflexes again and get rid of the edema, the swelling. So, acknowledging a place for conventional methods.
Okay.
Second, keep up the energetic support that was already happening, specifically asking Bob to focus aid on the metaphysical connections with the physical yellow ray body.
Hmm.
Third, something really simple, potassium. Ra explicitly recommended bananas, the fruit of the banana palm.
Bananas. Okay. Sometimes it is that simple.
Sometimes it is. And fourth, and this is powerful, Rob pointed out the link between the swelling of contumely, which means like scorn or insults, and the physical swelling. Understanding that connection was called helpful for healing.
So acknowledging the emotional side of it, the feeling of being swollen with indignation, maybe.
Exactly. Seeing that emotional root is part of the healing. It's all interconnected.
And there was also that point about group support and meditation, right? It wasn't quite uniform.
Yes, that's a really nuanced point. Iraq confirmed the group support was harmonious overall, which is vital. But they also noted Jim needed some discipline in the medication that the others perhaps didn't need in the same way. It wasn't judgment, just an observation that, each entity has its ways of viewing and learning from the illusion.
It really underlines that our paths are unique, even within a supportive group. What helps one might need tweaking for another?
Precisely. Individual journeys within the collective support.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. The conversation moves towards catalyst more broadly. The questioner offers an idea.
Right, in 101.3, and Ra finds it basically correct, unexceptional in the large sense.
The idea being that catalyst, whether it seems random or comes from the higher self or even, negative influences, its job is to push us toward polarization.
To increase polarization in whatever direction we've chosen. And once chosen, it intensifies that polarization. It's a concise summary of how the universe kind of nudges us along our path.
So building right on that, the next question, 101.4, gets really specific again. Okay, if catalyst works like that, what was the exact mechanism for Jim's bite? Where did that specific catalyst come from?
And Rez's answer here is, well, fundamental. There's only one source for catalyst, the self. Specifically, the self as creator, and especially the higher self.
The higher self, okay?
Yeah. And this catalyst stands to offer its service, notice the language, service to the mind, body, or spirit. It tries to be specific, dealing with the architecture of the unconscious mind.
Wow. So our experiences are deeply tailored then, like custom-designed lessons.
That's the implication, yes.
Yeah.
A co-creation with our higher aspect. It's not just random stuff happening to us.
So who or what delivered this specific catalyst, the bite?
Ray identifies it as a fifth density negative friend, so a being from a higher density but operating from a place of separation, service to self.
A negative entity. How does that fit with the higher self being the source?
It's complex, but the higher self can allow or utilize such influences as part of the design catalyst if it serves the learning path. This entity, Ross says, acted because it had noted the gradual falling away of Jim's anger and frustration patterns.
So Jim was making progress, letting go of negativity.
Exactly. And this friend saw an opportunity perhaps to disrupt that progress or test his resolve. The insect itself was just the tool, easily led to an attack. And Jim's own physical sensitivities, his allergies, made his body susceptible to the bite's effects, the lymphatic failure, the immune response issue. It's a mix of interstate, external influence, and physical predisposition.
Okay, so for anyone listening,
Mm.
what's the takeaway here? If you're facing a challenge, maybe don't just see it as bad luck. Could it be? Well, a precisely designed opportunity, maybe orchestrated by your deeper self, even using things that seem negative on the surface.
That's a powerful way to reframe it, definitely. It encourages looking inward. What pattern in my unconscious architecture is this challenge speaking to? How is it an opportunity for polarization, for growth?
Right. Transforms it from just an obstacle into something more meaningful. And then briefly, the questioner had their own example, right? Thinking maybe their own illness stopped them from running into a beehive.
Yeah, in 101.5. And Ra confirms the indubitable truth about hive creatures. A whole hive mentality can be swayed by one strong metaphysical impulse.
Fascinating. The interconnectedness again.
Definitely. And Ron mentions the potential danger, great distortions toward non-viability, if attacked by many stinging insects. So it supports the idea that the higher self can subtly intervene for protection, sometimes in ways we don't immediately recognize.
Okay, so from catalyst and higher selves, the session takes another turn towards something very practical. Cleaning house, energetically speaking.
Question 101.6 and 7, about a specific house in Atlanta.
And Ra's initial response is interesting. First, no, cleansing isn't needed if it was benign before. But then, almost immediately, a clarification.
Right. A correction, really. Ra says any residence, whether it was benign like that one or had negative vibes before, needs the basic cleansing of the salt, water, and broom.
So it's like universal energetic maintenance for our living spaces.
Seems so. Basic hygiene, but on an energetic level. And Ra gives a specific method for a place that was benign.
What was the method?
It involves doing it in 2 portions. You leave one door or window open, seal the rest, do the cleansing. Then you switch, seal the first opening, open another, and do the second portion.
Okay, and the salt. That seemed important.
Very important. You place salt at the opening you're using. And get this, you speak to the salt.
Speak to the salt. What do you say?
You ask it to act as seal, but still allow the passage of gentle spirits, such as yourselves, meaning people living there. And here's the really unique part. You have to name each entity for which permission is needed in order to pass. No one passes the salt barrier without specific permission being asked of the salt.
Wow. That's specific. It really emphasizes intention, doesn't it? Consciously setting energetic boundaries for your home.
Absolutely. It's about taking conscious responsibility for the energetic integrity of your space. Extending your personal field, in a way.
Okay, from the home space, the focus shifts again. This time to Greta Woodruw. Back to health and responsibility, but maybe on a larger scale.
Yes, 101.8. Rez's advice for her is quite profound. The honor of propinquity to light carries with it the law of responsibility.
Propinquity. Closeness. So being close to the light or truth comes with a duty.
Exactly. A duty to refrain from contumely, the word again, scorn or insult, discord, and all things which, when unresolved within, make way for workings. It suggests our own internal unresolved stuff can actually create openings for negativity or difficulties, especially if we're in a position of service or influence. It's a call for inner work.
That makes sense. And then there was that bit about approval.
Yes. A really insightful point about instruments, but it applies much more broadly, I think. Receiving constant and unremitting approval isn't necessarily helpful.
Why not? Wouldn't constant approval feel good?
It might feel good, but Ross says it leads to a loss of the mirroring effect. You lose the value of people who reflect truth back to you honestly, rather than just agreeing unquestioningly. It's not about harsh judgment, Ra clarifies. It's about finding love within truth. That kind of honest, loving reflection helps someone grow far more than just total admiration, which overcomes discrimination.
So true support involves honesty, even if it's sometimes difficult, rather than just blind praise. That feels very relevant for any relationship, really.
Absolutely. It's about authentic connection and mutual growth.
Okay, so as the session wrapped up, Ra had some final comments, right?
Hmm.
About the instrument and the contact itself.
Mm.
Ra noted Jim had used up all the transferred energy and was dipping into his own vital energy reserve.
Mm-hmm. And suggested using transferred sexual energy instead, if possible, to avoid depleting those vital reserves. It's a practical tip about energy management in this kind of work.
Good advice for anyone doing intensive energetic work, I imagine.
Definitely. And Ra also expressed gratitude for the support group's conscientiousness, again, highlighting how crucial that harmonious group energy is for the whole process.
It really ties everything together, the individual state, the group harmony, the specific practices,
Yeah.
and then Ra ends with that beautiful closing.
Yes. I leave this group glorying in the love and in the light of the one infinite creator. Go forth rejoicing, therefore, in the power and in the peace of the creator. Adonai. Just powerful.
What an incredible session to unpack. Session 101 really covers so much ground, doesn't it? From like the deep roots of a physical symptom, all the way to cosmic principles of catalyst, and even practical things like, well, how to energetically clean your house.
It truly does. It shows how the law of one isn't just abstract philosophy. It plays out in the nitty-gritty details of our lives. And the key takeaways from this deep dive seem pretty clear. First, your physical health is deeply tied to your energetic state, your inner world, and even catalysts designed for your growth, like we saw with Jim.
Right. It's not just germs or accidents. There's often more going on.
Exactly. Second, energetic hygiene for your space, like that salt ritual, it's presented as genuinely important, as vital as dusting, maybe more so.
Maybe. And third,
Third, that idea of true support, it's about love within truth. Honest mirroring, not just endless praise, is what really helps us grow, especially on a spiritual path.
that's a big one. So thank you for joining us on this really deep dive today. And maybe something to ponder before we finish. How could understanding the architecture of your unconscious mind, as Rab put it, and your own law of responsibility change how you see a challenge you're facing right now? Could you see it less as an obstacle and more as, well, a tailor-made catalyst for your path? How might shifting your inner harmony or the kind of support around you really change your experience of it?
And just remember that phrase, namaste, I am you and you are me. It's not just a nice saying. It's woven through everything we talked about today, seeking that love within truth in all your connections. That's where the real understanding lies.